Have you been wondering where to find premium clients, high-end, fantastic dream coaching clients, and once you find them, how to sign them? If so, you're not alone. That is probably the biggest thing I hear over and over again from coaches. I don't even know where to find clients. And then if I do find clients, I don't know how to approach them. And how do you actually transition from this daily chit chat or just niceties into an actual enrollment conversation? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I got lots of notes here just to make sure I don't miss a thing. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Stacey Hartman. I'm a client attraction expert. I love all things leading edge marketing and sales, combined with, of course, the most important thing, which is infusing everything you do in your business with high vibration business energetics so that you can get better results with less effort, less struggle, less strife, less hustle, because that's the magic sauce. That is the hydrogen bomb of building a thriving coaching practice, is blending really the best of the best marketing and sales tactics that feel in alignment and feel good to you with your own unique energetic blueprint. So welcome all of you who are hopping in. We have a nice little crew showing up live with us today. And again, today we're specifically going to be talking about the 5 authentic superpowers that will allow you to connect and convert people in your existing sphere that you might not even be able to see into clients. So let's dive in. Before we go into the 5 superpowers, I want to address the first thing. This is the first step. Where are all of these incredible clients? How do you find them? I use the example of, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone here, of how many times are you looking for something? Maybe your keys or your cell phone. And you look all over and maybe even tear things up. You retrace your steps. You're just like, where could it be? And in that search all over the place, you maybe walk downstairs and realize that they were right on the counter in front of you the entire time. And you're like, ugh, how did I not see them there? Or sometimes what I do is I'll yell at my husband, like, when did you put those there? And blame him. But the reality is they were there the entire time and you didn't see it. The same is true with your clients. There are probably hundreds of people right in front of you that you might not be seeing as ideal clients and ideal prospects because of one thing. Because of fear, because of being afraid of being salesy, of being pushy, of people not, appreciating what you're sharing or what you have to offer. And it ultimately boils down to the biggest fear, the fear of rejection. So who's with me on this? Who knows that they are actively not seeing or subconsciously not seeing opportunities that are right in front of you, prospects, dream clients that are right in front of you, maybe people that have popped into your mind that you know you could help. But because of fear, not going there, I'm going to go someplace else instead. I'm going to keep looking. Maybe there's something better on the other side. Who's been there? Who's stopped themselves from actually capitalizing on something that's right in front of you because of fear? So here's the crazy thing. Some of you know a little bit about my path, but I did this so incredibly well that I built my entire business leveraging a cold audience. I was so determined to not talk to a warm audience, to stay hidden from the people that knew me, that I stepped into mastery of building out online funnels that turned cold leads into warm and hot leads within a couple days' time, which sounds really fantastic, but when I get really honest with myself and the amount of learning and the amount of money that was invested to do that, the deepest reason why I was always focusing on a cold audience was because it didn't matter to me if I was rejected by a cold audience. These people didn't know me. They didn't understand where I was coming from. So if they liked what I was sharing, great. If they didn't, no big deal. No skin off my back. It was the perfect excuse to focus on staying behind my computer screen, focus on generating a ton of cold leads. In fact, at the peak of this, I was generating, I think last year I generated 20,000 cold leads. And the disadvantage, and why now I'm teaching about leveraging a warm market and about getting really honest with ourselves, the disadvantage was that when there's that many people coming through, it doesn't take long to lose the human connection. And that's something that I was missing in my business for a really long time. And so it was time to come face to face with the fear of putting myself out there in front of my warm market, in front of the people that knew me, in front of the people who love me. So that's how deep this fear is, and how we can come up with all kinds of stories, all kinds of excuses about not reaching out to the people that are closest to us, but knowing after some time the real reason is the fear of rejection, because that hurts. That's like a dagger to the heart. So why don't we reach out to them, right? We don't want to be salesy. We don't want to be pushy. We don't want to be rejected. All of those reasons. So let's talk about how to find these clients that are hiding right in front of you. They're everywhere. The beauty of social media is the majority of you probably have hundreds of connections on Facebook that have actively reached out and either requested to be your friend because they know and trust you in some way, shape, or form, or that you've reached out to and invited to connect and they've said yes because they like what you stand for and they like who you are. Hundreds of connections on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of your life experiences, your career, your past career experiences before becoming a coach, your current career experiences if you're transitioning to becoming a coach. All of those places are hundreds upon hundreds of contacts that can use the coaching, the gifts, the talents, the incredible help that you have to offer this world. And they're right in front of us, right under our nose, just like the keys on the counter that we can't see when we're trying to leave and in a hurry. So breaking through that fear, how do we approach these leads in a way that feels good, in a way that doesn't feel icky and slimy and weird? And that's really where these 5 superpowers come into play. So before I do that, I just want to say a couple of things can happen, right? What's the worst? Those of you who are here, I'd love to hear. When you think about maybe sending a private message to somebody in your contact sphere, or giving a call, or essentially cold calling to a lukewarm market, what are some of the fears that come up, or what are some of the thoughts that come up that prevent you from actually doing it, from actually taking action on it? And like, you don't have to write a book or anything, but just real quick, thoughts, fears, feelings that come up with the idea of reaching out, like completely cold to maybe somebody you haven't heard from in a really long time in your warm market. What if they don't pick up what I'm putting down? Yes, exactly. If they say yes and I'm no good, yes, totally. What if they actually say yes? Then I have to actually live up to it. Afraid I'm separating myself too much, that people won't take me seriously, that they think I'm being too pushy or weird. Yes, I feel needy, like I'm asking them for something. Why would we want to do that? We have this silly manipulative intention behind us reaching out, right? And how many of you have been approached by people in that way? Hey, I just want to know how you're doing. Yeah, you can feel your BS detector goes off so fast that it's really... I know that especially, I've worked with a lot of network marketers and direct sellers in breaking through this, especially in that arena. When you hear from a friend for not a really long time and they're making a list of all the people in their contact sphere to reach out to, hey, I got something really exciting I'm up to. Would you be okay with me sharing it with you? You just want to run the other way, right? Not qualified to help them. So that, am I ready? Do I know enough? Can I really help them get the results that they're looking for? Still not honed down on the niche. And that's a common thread for the clients that you've had. Well, you're going to love this, because what's beautiful about reaching out to people and how we can uncover our niche at the same time is that we know when our masterful coaches, and we know we can coach anybody around anything. And I'm just going to really quick go on a little rant about the niche thing, which are those of you that are on my lives that this usually happens, but some of the best stuff comes from it. The only purpose a niche serves is to direct your marketing efforts, to direct a marketing message so that it attracts people in, so that you're not having to chase people down. But when we're talking about harvesting our warm market and talking about being able to help, support, coach, mentor, teach our warm market, niches actually aren't quite as relevant, because the reality is once we uncover their challenges, their frustrations, their pain points, their desires, their hopes, their dreams for possibilities, we know that our coaching skills can help them uncover even more in depth how to get there. And so then we can make our offers without even having a niche. My coach refers to it as the blank page pitch, We uncover what people want. We know the power of coaching. We offer what they say they want. And we know that coaching is the vehicle that helps them get there. Cool. Okay, so that was a different little rant. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. Okay, so yes, that's why we don't pick up the phone. That's why we don't reach out on Messenger. That's why we don't connect in, because we've all been in that position before where somebody's reached out with an ulterior motive, pretending to be nice. And there's not a chance that we want to show up in that way as authentic, powerful, walk the talk coaches. So how can we reach out and not have people's BS detectors go up through the roof? Now, before we do that, exactly what you all were saying. One of three things are going to happen when you reach out to people. They're either not going to respond, they're going to brush you off and blow you off. That's cool, no big deal. They're going to respond and the conversation is just not really going to go anywhere. It's just going to be that idle chit chat. That's okay too. You're reconnecting in, you're building relationships. You're at least just like honing your craft. The third thing that could happen is that you actually do strike up a conversation and you actually do peel back some layers and some deeper awareness of what's happening in this person's world and whether or not you may not be able to help them. So those are the only three things that could happen. You're brushed off, your conversation started, it doesn't go anywhere, or the conversation started and it opens a door of possibility for you and for the person that you've reached out to. That's it. Like one of those three things are going to happen, right? So the challenge is, what stories do we tell ourselves about what's happening and why it's happening? That's where we get ourselves into trouble. So when somebody's brushing you off or ignoring you or not replying or not answering or not picking up what you're putting down, what meaning are we attaching to it? Are we saying that it means something about us? Or like many of you said, what if they say yes and I don't help them get the results? What meaning are we attaching and how much power are we taking away from our clients when we have maybe a belief that we're actually the ones getting them results? So we can see how our stuff comes in here, our stories and our stuff, and how it prevents us from being able to just be with the gift that we have to give and deliver it. So, step one we talked about, identify those contacts. Now, I just want to go a little deeper into that. When you're identifying people, that's the thing. We're not reaching out to anybody and everybody. I fully believe you all need to have a red rope policy around your coaching practice. That is not a red rope policy that they have to fit into your niche or your perfect little marketing message. It's a red rope policy that says you know who you love to work with the best. You know your style, you know the style of client you like to serve, and if you don't quite know that yet, you'll continue to uncover that as you keep working with different people. But it's saying you're not out there actively looking to work with broken people. Because when you are starting to approach broken people, then a lot of times you're going to find their objections and their excuses are going to outweigh their ability to really get the breakthrough that they're looking for. So have that really clearly identified, not a niche, but qualities, characteristics of people that you want to serve. And if people don't fall into those characteristics, this is the red rope policy. No matter how much they're willing to pay you, no matter how much they're willing to beg you or bribe you to take them on, people don't get past that red rope unless they really match who you love to coach. Because coaching's fun. Coaching's exciting when we work with dream clients. And when we bring people into our practice that aren't ideal for us, just our personalities and our gifts and our talents and how we know we love to work with people, then they're taking up space from somebody else that could have been that perfect fit. You identify your clients, you know who you're looking for, and then now we're on to approaching them with these 5 superpowers. And this is the piece that you all were talking about. We don't want to come across like we have ulterior motives or manipulative and being manipulative. So let's dive into these 5 superpowers. They're not going to surprise you because they happen to be in perfect alignment with what you're already doing when you coach people. Ta-da! No surprise. No big secret. The key is, as I share these 5, start to uncover for yourself what causes you to show up differently when it comes to marketing and selling your business than when you already have the client and you're coaching them. Because who you're showing up as a coach and how you're serving and supporting and coaching people is exactly how you want to be showing up in your marketing and your sales. It's confusing because it might be flying in the face of some of the things that we thought it would take, or it's confusing because we're just still so new, we're trying to figure things out. Don't hesitate to reach out. Don't hesitate to ask questions with whatever part you're finding confusing. It could have been way back when. It could be just how I'm talking. It could be specific to the red rope policy. So I'm here to support you, here to help you. Okay, so let's talk about these 5 superpowers. How to initiate the conversation. So first and foremost, initiating the conversation, the number one superpower in every single step that you're taking around harvesting and connecting in with a warm market of people that you would love to serve, or people that maybe even you feel a little intimidated to reach out to. If you want to be really bold, start making the list of people that you know you could help that are maybe rock stars, but you know that you could help even up their rock star game. And you could be really bold and even reach out to those that you feel a little intimidated by. Some of you like to be stretched like that. But the number one thing is detachment. So detachment, again, some will, some won't, and some are waiting. And to be completely detached, it means to not have your agenda at all when you make up that connection. So one of the ways you can do this is to just set really strong intention, because again, the BS detectors that we pick up on from other people that maybe are approaching us are the manipulation. Those of you that are familiar with the 7 levels of energy, it's the level 3, the manipulation. It's still about me, myself, and I want to win, but I'm going to manipulate and present this as though I'm really interested in you too. We're picking up on the energetics. We all have BS detectors. And the reality is you could say the exact same thing, but when you're infusing it with a higher vibration intention, it is received completely differently. And also, if it's not received completely differently, then it's completely that person's stuff. Maybe they've been approached too many times before. Maybe they're skeptical. But we don't have to overtake responsibility for people's skepticism when we're pure on our intentions. So some of the intentions that I like to set when I'm reaching out to people are I'm connecting. I mentioned to you that when I built my business solely online and so many people were coming through every single month, I lost the human touch. I lost the human connection. And so now the opportunity to see another person and to just even be able to converse and have connection, that fuels me. That is amazing, just to be able to be with people after building online and just seeing numbers and analytics. Stay detached. Set a strong intention. So one of the intentions can be I'm connecting deeply with people. It can be I am being present. It can be I am being detached. And truly trusting that process, that who resonates with you approaching with them, to them, who resonates with you reaching out to them, and who doesn't, that they might not be ready. That's like God, universe's way of saying now's not the time. And that's okay. And I can tell you, after working with a ton of clients who weren't ready for the really deep transformational work, it just wreaks havoc on their life and on yours if they're not ready. So trusting the process, staying detached, knowing that the ones who are ready, they won't even be able to explain why they're responding to your message, even though maybe they've never responded to a message like this before. I can't even tell you how many people I hear from that say, I never attend trainings, or I never go to webinars, or I never give my email address, or I never, but something about what you are saying or something about your message just grabbed me. That's the energetics. That's the energetics that people are picking up on without you even knowing it. So this powerful energetic of detachment, of completely no agenda, people pick up on it and it draws people in. It's very magnetic. So how do you initiate that conversation? Again, from a detached place. When you see something, say something. When you see somebody post something on Facebook that maybe is really inspiring, reach out and say, hey, I saw your post. I really love the way you think. I love what you shared. That was really inspiring. That really made me think. Hey, I saw this. Hey, I noticed your profile picture. What an awesome picture. Whatever it is, but it's got to be genuine, right? Like truly commend, compliment, point something out, see them. We don't hear feedback often enough. Humans just don't, because the majority of the time, like, people are scared to even share that. So that's one of the ways that you can reach out in a genuine, detached way. You also can reach out by, if it's somebody that you've been in contact with, bring up a previous conversation. Hey, it's been a long time. Last time we talked, you were up to XYZ. What are you up to? What exciting things are you up to now? So it can be that simple about just genuinely being interested and curious. Okay, the power of detachment, the biggest superpower. Don't do anything in your business if you're attached. You're going to draw in needy people. That's the energetics. Quick question. When you say reaching out to people, do you mean simply starting a curious conversation? Yes, exactly. So just reach out and just be curious with the intention to connect, with the intention to build the relationship deeper. And some people might even say, I've reached out to people and they've said, I'm curious, why are you reaching out to me? And so for me, my authentic response is, I've been building my business online for the last 3 years, and I'm truly missing the human connection that just doesn't happen on social media. And it looks like you're up to some really cool things. That's it. And that is it. Yes, exactly. Okay, cool. So initiating the conversation with curiosity, with connection. And again, some won't respond. No big deal. Watch the stories that come up around that and release them. So that's your stuff. Some will, and it's just going to turn into that idle chit chat. Oh yeah, the kids are great, and that generic stuff. And I'm going to tell you how to break through that with superpower number 2. And some are going to be like an open book right out of the gate. Like, yeah, I'm up to this and I'm up to that. And my husband's a jerk. And like, they'll just like, blurt it all out. And that gives you all kinds of juicy nuggets to use the other superpowers I'm going to be sharing with you. So the second superpower, be empathetic, be present. So it's crazy because we can see so quickly, like we can see outside of the box. So when somebody has something going on in their world, we've got the bird's eye view. We can see what's really happening for them. And as a result, we want to jump in and help and sometimes save the world and like just go crazy over whatever's going on with them. When I say the second superpower is be empathetic, it's to refrain from all of that. How many times have you started talking to a friend? Be a friend. How many times have you started talking to a friend and they're like, yeah, have you tried this? Have you thought of this? What about that? You should think about this. You should try that. And they just want to solve. And how does that make you feel? So be empathetic and be present. So when you're starting that conversation, hey, what's some exciting things going on right now in your world? And they're like, oh my gosh, I just got this job promotion. Rather than going into like massive question mode, go straight into, wow, that must be so exciting. And just be there with them. Be present. Share like the space. That is so exciting. And again, the power of silence. Like you don't even have to say anything else. That is so exciting. What's going to happen? You're going to see the little dots on Messenger. Yeah, and da-da-da-da-da. So by being present, being empathetic, simply acknowledging and validating, which is exactly what we do as coaches already, right? This is the thing. When we go into marketing and sales, for some reason we throw our coaching skills out the freaking door. But this is the skill, right? Be empathetic, present, acknowledge them, validate them. No advice giving, no offering solutions, none of it. Because that's what opens the door to them going deeper than the idle chit chat. That is what allows the unfolding of the conversation. Because how many people are truly heard or seen or listened to? And your presence and being empathetic is opening the door in a more powerful way than any showcasing of your expertise. You know, some of you had said what gets in the way is like, and then I have to actually deliver. What if I don't know enough? And remember though, it's not, what's that quote? I might butcher it because I usually am pretty good at butchering quotes. It's not how much you know that draws people in, it's how much you care. Something like that. Somebody's got it. Somebody will pop it in there for me. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? Something like that. Yeah, it is a great reminder because as we get more and more advanced with our coaching and we step into expertise, and some of the most successful coaches, and for those of you that are still in coach training, just take this with a grain of salt. Some of you that are like really have upped your coaching game, the most successful coaches have a hybrid program where they're leveraging their expertise, stepping into being an expertpreneur while simultaneously leveraging the power of the coaching and delivering coaching as well. And so once we start making that transition into more consulting, mentoring, teaching, it can be really hard when we're reaching out to people to not constantly be providing the solution. So that's superpower number 2 is empathetic and present. Okay, number 3. So as you're being present and you're unfolding the onion and people are giving you the goods as you're being empathetic, then it's time to be really curious and interested. So now they're sharing, you've held the space, you've acknowledged, you've reiterated some of the feeling and the emotion. They feel heard, they feel seen. Now is where you're going to be curious. So this is a little bit different than when you're coaching because now you are being really focused in your questions, as opposed to when you're asking questions and curious questions while you're coaching, you're solely focused on the client's agenda. Now, you're going to have a slight agenda, but the agenda is necessary in order for you to be helpful and to determine whether or not you can provide a solution. So the agenda around asking curious questions is all around uncovering what are their wants, what are their desires, what are they looking for, or what are their challenges, what are their problems, what's getting in the way. And as you uncover those two things, that's the nuggets for you to determine whether or not you even have a solution that is a fit for what's happening in their world right now. There's a little quote here that I just want to share. You don't have a solution for anybody until you understand their problem or their desire. So the questions that we start asking as we've held some space is around exactly that. What do you want from this? Or what's your biggest hope around this? And what's the challenge? What's the hardest? And whenever somebody's sharing a challenge and we're acknowledging the challenge, ooh, that must be really tough. Wow, that'd be frustrating. If they're talking about their boss, if they're talking about their significant other, if they're talking about some sort of pain in their life, that's the clue to you to go, ding, is this somebody that I can help them through this challenge? Do I have a solution with what I have to offer to fully help and support this person through this challenge? And until we have the information of what the challenge is and what they want, even though coaching's for everybody and can help everybody, we have no business trying to offer coaching without being clear on the challenge or what they're looking for, first and foremost. So focused, curious, interested question asking to continue covering the conversation and peeling back the onion and understanding more deeply and connecting more deeply with this person. Okay, superpower number 4, and probably one of my favorite, authentic and real. So I'm going to go out on a limb here. I really don't give a flying freak about who your audience is because we're all human. So it doesn't matter if your audience is a corporate exec who's all buttoned up at work when your personality is not that. Be who you are, because the reality is if we put the mask on and we put on the professional persona, like this is the right way to do things, we'll attract people in, but we're going to probably be bored out of our mind working with people who aren't a match for who we authentically are and how we authentically want to show up. So whatever rules you might have or whatever ideas you might have about how to show up within your audience, I challenge you on those, because the reality is how you show up, when you show up being you, when you take the masks off, when you don't hide anything for the sake of getting a client in some way, shape, or form, then you're going to get people in that aren't going to be exciting clients for you. And it's going to be exhausting to work with them. We have to let our freak flag fly. We have to. And we have to be willing to be vulnerable. And we have to be willing to share pieces of ourselves. So an example of this has just happened in the group. Again, authentically, genuinely sharing of ourselves. Doing some character revealing of who we are. I don't know if he's still here. Wrote in the group who he serves. He serves divorced couples who are still in a lot of emotional turmoil and pain from going through their divorce. And my parents divorced after 30 years of marriage a decade ago, right when we were having our very first son. And they were going through just like such terrible time at that time that I shared in our group that my parents went through a divorce and it was a really hard time. They could have used somebody like him. That was a little piece of me being vulnerable. Guess what? I got family shit too. Like things aren't all unicorns and rainbows in the world, right? It's being vulnerable. It's being real. It's revealing pieces of yourself when it's appropriate, when it's genuine, when it's authentic. And it's letting your freak flag fly whenever you want to let it fly. So you're going to find my freak flag is going to include some cussing, which already has happened. It's going to include being woo-woo and spiritual and bringing in the energetics and all of the soft stuff. And it's going to be direct and telling the truth, whether it hurts or not. So that's just a part of who I am. And that's a part of that whoever those qualities are of you, bring them into every conversation that you're having. Because if we're vanilla, if everybody likes us, then nobody loves us. So you want to be, contradictory. You want to be a contrarian on some level, because you really won't have complete raving fans unless you also have people that you rub the wrong way. So that was number 4. That's your attraction factor. That's your key attraction factor. Y'all letting your freak flags fly. So I'm holding you to it. I want to see some freak flags in this group and let them fly. Sound good? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, the fifth superpower when it comes to approaching your warm market via messenger, phone call, text, whatever it is. Patience. Be patient. Again, this is the long game of business. We get so excited, and our intention can be pure. We get so excited, we're like, oh my gosh, I can totally help you. Oh, I just want to offer you this coaching. And sometimes we're like, and I want to offer you it for free. Tisk, tisk, tisk. And I'm willing to do anything, right? We get so excited, we just jump right in. And it takes people a little bit to digest some of the things that might be coming up. Even when you're asking those curious questions around their challenges or their problems, and or their hopes and their dreams, they're getting epiphanies that they didn't even know were there. And it takes a little bit. And so we want to make sure that there's always patience and space built into that relationship. That because as soon as we jump right in, then we can actually damage it pretty quickly. Because it's like all of a sudden, again, like this whole detachment piece, the very first superpower I shared with you, in the beginning, is one thing, but holding it through the whole conversation, that's a whole nother ballgame. So being detached means the whole way through. So as soon as you see the opportunity for how this person could be your client and how you could help them, that's another little stinger where attachment could easily come in and essentially kill the opportunity to actually work with them. It reminds me of that scene in Tommy Boy when he's using the car as an example about how he kills sales. It's as soon as the attachment comes in, you're killing the opportunity for a sale the majority of the time. We can recover pretty quickly as soon as you catch it. Just catch it and pull back. And maybe that just means, hey, I gotta go, and pull back from the conversation so you can get back into a detached place. Okay, so the patience piece. So again, don't offer advice or a solution on the first contact unless they're asking for it. You're holding the space, and as you're interacting, they might be reaching out to you and asking like, what do you do? Tell me more about you. And feel free to share what you do, but from a completely detached place, and never by saying right away like, I coach people XYZ. Is that something you'd be interested in? It's go ahead and share. And in fact, even share if it's specific to a challenge that they're having and you know that you can help them. Feel free to say, if they ask you what you're up to in addition, feel free to start seeding what you do and how it would help them, but keep it really separate from them so that they ask, so that they say, do you think this is something that you could help me with? So that you are more hunted than the hunter. Like, you never want to be the hunter. You always want to be like the hunted, where people are asking, I want to know more about that, or you think this is something that could help me, or whatever questions they have, so that they're actually approaching you as opposed to you putting it on them. So don't offer advice. Don't offer that solution on that first contact. Give it some space. Hold the space. Hold the relationship that's being built, and allow them to be with their challenge. Allow them to be seen, to be heard, all of those pieces. And then after some time passes, feel free to check back in. Or after a day or two passes and you can just gather your own thoughts, assess yourself like, hey, is this somebody that I could see myself working with? Because when we choose to work with clients, they're not just choosing us. I think that's another thing I see a lot of coaches do, where they think they have to sell themselves to prospects. And it's, what if you turn the tables on that? What if you were so clear about who jazzed you the most to work with that they're not assessing you, like you're assessing them. So you're going to also give it some space to even see, what would it be like to coach that person? Is that person somebody I can see myself spending a lot of time with? Is this somebody that I feel excited about the possibilities for them? Have your red rope policy in place. Like mine is, they have to have an inspiring vision. They have to use the marketing and sales techniques that I'm using for the greater good and ethically and not manipulatively. I have this whole list. And so I actually have a checklist. Like I have a client checklist. Does this person fit these 5-6 things? Do they have the opportunity to sell high-end products? Whatever your checklist is, you want to be able to take some space and run people through it and just be like, hey, is this person a match for me? Not just am I a match for them, but are they a match for me? So that's what else this space is going to be. So then after you take that space and you are like, you know what, I know without a question of doubt that I can help. Like I can help them, I can serve them, I can provide breakthrough, clarity. I can do my thing and they are going to, like, their world is going to explode. When you know that for certain, that you have a solution, a cure to their problem, their challenge, to helping them get from where they are to where they want to be, then go ahead and check back in. Check back in a few days later or a week later and just say, hey, I've been thinking a lot about our conversation and I have some ideas for you, or I have this resource, or I have this article. And it doesn't even have to be your stuff. Or I thought of a book that might really help you. And provide resources. Be helpful. Stay connected. Keep becoming the trusted advisor with the solution to the challenge that they're having. And ultimately, the offer can be, hey, I have some ideas to help you XYZ, what you're looking for, or stop XYZ, what's causing you pain. Would you be interested in hopping on a call for a few minutes? So that's the formula of taking a look at who's in your sphere, who's already near you, who already do you know could use your help. Identify them, approach them, conversate, connect, use these 5 superpowers to build the relationship, to stay detached, to be in it for the long game. And in doing this with multiple people, maybe even just a couple people a day, there's no question that there are at least 2 to 8, maybe even more clients hiding right underneath the tip of your nose. So that's the rundown. Okay, so I want to check in. What do you think? Who's on board? Who's ready to start connecting and reaching out and getting clients that are right in front of you? Ready to connect and discover. Love it. Love that word. Good stuff. Good reminder. Awesome, Sue. Yeah, it is. We forget. We get into business mode and we ditch all of our natural superpowers. We just forget. We sweep them under the rug. Another question. How do you determine whether someone is a lead for your coaching business or simply a friend who you resonate with? Love that. Such a good question. So every coach is going to be totally different. I've coached a couple of really close friends, not in my area of expertise or niche, but because they've specifically reached out. And the key is just setting those really strong boundaries on the front end. So it might just be having that really direct conversation. When I've coached friends in the past, what I've done is I would just sit down with them and say, this is something I know I can help you with, but I'm also not positive that I'm the best fit for you because of our friendship. And it's just having that total open conversation and just being like, hey, this is friend mode and this is coach mode. And if we were to choose to engage in a coaching relationship, then during our sessions, it's just setting the really strict, clear boundaries right from the start and being willing to call friends out when they want to go someplace else and use that as a coaching moment. So one of my friends was in the middle of thinking she wanted to get a divorce from her husband. And then she would bring up drama, and it's, you're trying to suck me into friend mode here. I'm not jumping in your box. I'm your coach. So it's being really direct and just pushing them straight through. How about when meeting a new person? How do you know the difference? Oh, somebody brand new. I think the easiest way to know the difference is just how once you know that somebody has a problem that you have a solution for, then why wouldn't we continue that conversation and then go into the conversation I was just talking to you about, setting the boundaries and saying, hey, I know we've really developed a fantastic friendship here. However, some things have been coming up for me in ways that I can help you in a different way than as a friend. But as far as if somebody's got a challenge or a problem that you know your coaching is a fantastic solution for, I say, I don't know why we wouldn't explore that. Okay, so that's it. We're going to wrap this up for today. This is the starting point. Of course, once you start engaging in those conversations, the number one skill, the absolute number one skill that is so necessary as a coach is stepping into the sales conversation and mastering sales in a really powerful way. So that's training for another day. I'm just going to keep delivering the goods. If there's anything specifically that you want support with, that you'd love some training on, that you want some help with, some awesome questions that you might have, feel free to post them because I am here to serve you. I'm here to keep creating these trainings to help you grow your business to the level you want to grow it and in full alignment with the life you want to create. And thank you all for joining me live and all of you that are watching this replay. And until the next training, I'll see you later. Goodbye.